The twilight emerged from hyperspace, and Anakin Skywalker sat frozen in the pilot's seat. His hands trembled on the controls. Obi-Wan noticed immediately. "Anakin? Are you all right?" Anakin didn't answer. How could he? How could he explain that he'd seen himself, truly seen himself, as a monster in black armor, strangling Padme, cutting down younglings, serving a Sith Emperor? "I'm fine, Master," he lied. But he wasn't fine. The Father of Mortis had shown him everything. The visions burned in his mind like a brand, and unlike before, they hadn't been taken away. The Father had looked into Anakin's eyes and made a choice. Let him remember. "You must face what you are destined to become," the ancient being had whispered. "Only then can you choose differently." Now, as the Jedi cruiser loomed ahead, Anakin felt the weight of the future pressing down on him. Every vision replayed in perfect, horrifying detail. He saw himself kneeling before Palpatine. He heard the screams of the Jedi Temple. He felt Padme's life slipping away in his mechanical hands. "The dark side is not your destiny," the Father had said, "but it is your choice." Ahsoka's voice crackled over the comm. "Master, we're cleared for landing." Anakin forced himself to focus. He guided the ship into the hangar, but his mind was elsewhere, trapped between the present and a future that hadn't happened yet. As they disembarked, Rex and the clones saluted. Anakin returned it mechanically. Everything felt wrong. The clones, he'd seen them turn. He'd watched them execute Order 66, gunning down Jedi across the galaxy. Could he trust anyone? Obi-Wan placed a hand on his shoulder. "Anakin, what happened on Mortis? You've been different since we left." Anakin pulled away. "I told you I'm fine." "You're lying." Obi-Wan's voice was gentle but firm. "I know you, Anakin. Something's wrong." For a moment, Anakin almost told him everything. Almost confessed the visions, the fall, the darkness waiting for him. But the words stuck in his throat. What if telling Obi-Wan made it worse? What if his master tried to stop him from seeing Padme, tried to force him to let go, and that push was exactly what sent him over the edge? "I need time," Anakin said quietly. "Please, Master. Just give me time." Obi-Wan hesitated, concern etched across his face. Finally he nodded. "Very well. But Anakin, whatever burden you're carrying, you don't have to carry it alone." But Anakin knew the truth. This burden was his, and his alone. As Obi-Wan walked away, Anakin felt the dark side whisper at the edges of his consciousness, and for the first time, he understood exactly how seductive it could be. The knowledge of his fall was supposed to save him. But what if it destroyed him instead? Sleep became impossible. Every time Anakin closed his eyes, the visions returned. The yellow Sith eyes staring back at him from a reflection. The mechanical breathing. The screams of children he had murdered. He jolted awake, drenched in sweat. Padme stirred beside him in their secret apartment. "Another nightmare?" she whispered, reaching for him. Anakin pulled her close, feeling her heartbeat against his chest. This was real. She was alive, safe, here with him. But for how long? In his vision, she had died. He had killed her. His hands, these same hands that now held her gently, had choked the life from her body. "Just bad dreams," he murmured. Padme looked into his eyes. "Ani, you can talk to me. Whatever's troubling you." "I can't lose you," he said suddenly, fiercely. Promise me you'll never leave." She seemed surprised by the intensity. "I'm not going anywhere. I promise." But promises meant nothing against the future Anakin had seen. In his vision, she'd promised to stay too, right before she died giving birth to their children. Children. Anakin hadn't known. Twins. Luke and Leia. His son and daughter, separated at birth because their father had become a monster. The next morning, Anakin reported to the Jedi Temple. Walking those hallways felt like walking through a graveyard. He saw the younglings training with practice sabers and wanted to scream a warning. "Run. Leave this place before I destroy you all." Master Yoda watched him from across the training room. Those ancient eyes seemed to see straight through him. "Troubled young Skywalker is," Yoda said when Anakin approached. "Sensei te, primero." "Clouds, the Force around you." Anakin forced a calm expression. "I'm fine, Master Yoda." "Fine, you are not." The tiny Jedi Master tapped his Jimmer stick. "In pain you are. Fear I sense. And anger." Every word hit like a hammer. Fear. Anger. The path to the dark side. Anakin knew the litany by heart, and he'd heard it in Palpatine's voice, twisted into seduction. "The Jedi Code teaches us to let go," Anakin said carefully. "I'm trying, Master." Yoda studied him for a long moment. "Try not. Do or do not. Remember this, you must, young Skywalker. The future, always in motion it is. What you fear may come to pass, only if allow it, you do." Anakin wanted to believe that, desperately. But as he left the temple, his comlink chirped. Chancellor Palpatine's voice was warm, paternal. "Anakin, my boy. I was hoping we could talk. There's a matter of some importance I'd like to discuss with you." Anakin's blood ran cold. He knew this pattern. He'd lived it. Palpatine's friendly conversations, gradually revealing Sith teachings, planting seeds of doubt about the Jedi. "I'll be there shortly, Chancellor," Anakin heard himself say. He stood in the temple hangar, staring at his fighter. This was it, the moment where everything could change, or where everything stayed exactly on course. In his vision, he'd trusted Palpatine, believed his lies, let the manipulation sink in slowly, month after month, until the trap was already sprung. But now Anakin knew the truth. Palpatine wasn't his friend. He was Darth Sidious, the Dark Lord of the Sith who had orchestrated the entire Clone War. The man who would eventually turn him into Vader. Anakin climbed into his fighter, his heart pounding. He was about to walk straight into the spider's web. But this time he wouldn't be caught. Anakin found Obi-Wan in the meditation gardens just after midnight. His former master sat on a stone bench, eyes closed, peaceful. Anakin almost turned back, almost decided to carry this secret to his grave. But then he remembered Padme dying in his arms, remembered the younglings, remembered becoming the very thing he'd sworn to destroy. "Master," Anakin said quietly, "I need to talk to you." Obi-Wan opened his eyes, immediately alert. "Anakin, what's wrong?" "Everything." Anakin sat down heavily. "On Mortis, something happened. Something the Father did." He took a deep breath. "There was no going back after this. He showed me the future. My future. And he didn't erase the memories." Obi-Wan leaned forward. "What did you see?" The words came flooding out. Anakin told him everything. The yellow eyes, the dark armor, the name Darth Vader. He described the fall of the Jedi Temple, Order 66, the clones turning on their generals. He spoke of Padme's death, of twins he hadn't known existed, of serving the Emperor for decades. And he told him about Palpatine. "The Chancellor, he's the Sith Lord we've been searching for. Darth Sidious. He's been manipulating the war from both sides. He's grooming me to become his apprentice." Obi-Wan sat in stunned silence. His face had gone pale. "Anakin, these are serious accusations." "The Chancellor, I know how it sounds." Anakin stood pacing. "But I saw it, Master. I saw him twist me, corrupt me. I saw myself kneel before him and become his Sith apprentice. I saw," his voice cracked. "I saw myself try to kill you. That stopped Obi-Wan cold." "Kill me?" "On Mustafar. We dueled." Anakin couldn't finish. The memory of his master cutting him down, leaving him burning on the volcanic shore, was too painful. Obi-Wan stood slowly. "And you believe these visions are true? Not just possibilities?" "The Father said they would come to pass unless I changed my path. He let me remember so I could make a different choice." Anakin met his eyes. "I'm making it now. I'm telling you the truth, even though every instinct says it's dangerous. Because I can't do this alone." For a long moment, Obi-Wan said nothing. Anakin could feel his master's mind working, analyzing, doubting. Finally, Obi-Wan spoke. "The Force works in mysterious ways. Prophecies, visions, they're never as clear as we'd like." He placed a hand on Anakin's shoulder. "But I believe you, Anakin. I believe something happened on Mortis that's shaken you to your core." Relief flooded through Anakin. "So you'll help me?" "We need to approach this carefully," Obi-Wan said. "If Palpatine truly is Darth Sidious, we can't simply accuse him without proof. He's too powerful, too connected. We need evidence." "Then we'll find it," Anakin said. "Together." Obi-Wan nodded slowly. "We'll start by researching Palpatine's past, his rise to power, his connections. And we'll watch him. Carefully." For the first time since leaving Mortis, Anakin felt hope. He wasn't alone. Obi-Wan believed him. They could change the future together. But as they walked back toward the temple, neither of them noticed the small surveillance droid hovering in the shadows above the garden. And in his chambers, Palpatine smiled as he watched the recording. "So, the Chosen One remembers," he whispered. "How very interesting." The game had changed. But Darth Sidious had been playing this game for decades, and he always stayed 3 moves ahead. Chancellor Palpatine steepled his fingers, watching the holographic replay for the 3rd time. I saw myself kneel before him and become his Sith apprentice. Anakin's voice echoed through the chamber. Palpatine smiled. This was unexpected, but not unwelcome. For years, he'd carefully cultivated Skywalker, planted seeds of doubt about the Jedi, positioned himself as the father figure Anakin desperately craved. Every conversation, every piece of advice, every moment of trust had been calculated to lead to one inevitable conclusion: Anakin's fall. But now the boy knew the endgame. He'd seen the future and was fighting against it. "Fascinating," Palpatine murmured. "Most would see this as a disaster, the carefully constructed plan unraveling. But Darth Sidious hadn't conquered the galaxy by panicking. He'd done it by adapting. And this was an opportunity. Anakin thought knowledge would save him. Thought that by warning Obi-Wan and resisting temptation, he could escape his destiny. But Palpatine understood something fundamental about the Force, about fate, about Anakin Skywalker himself. The harder Anakin fought against the dark side, the more inevitable his fall became. Every action he took to prevent his fate would lead him directly toward it. That was the beautiful tragedy of prophecy. The attempt to escape is what ensures fulfillment. Palpatine opened a secure comm channel. "Lord Tyrannus." Count Dooku's hologram appeared. "My master? Accelerate the timeline. I want the attack on Coruscant moved up. 3 weeks, not 3 months." Dooku's eyebrow raised. "That's ambitious. May I ask why?" "Our young Skywalker is becoming complicated. We must force his hand before he fully commits to resistance. And if he stands with the Jedi?" Palpatine's smile widened. "Then we make sure the Jedi fail him. I want separatist forces to target Senator Amidala's apartment." A close call. Near fatal. Understanding dawned in Dooku's eyes. "You want to trigger his fear." "Exactly. Anakin believes he can save Padme by staying in the light. We'll show him the light isn't strong enough. That only the dark side offers the power to protect those he loves." Dooku bowed. "It will be done." The hologram vanished. Palpatine stood, walking to the window overlooking Coruscant. Thousands of lights twinkled in the night, trillions of lives, unaware that their fate rested in the hands of one conflicted Jedi Knight. Anakin thought telling Obi-Wan was the first step to salvation. He didn't realize it was the first step to damnation. Because now Palpatine knew exactly what Anakin feared most. He knew the precise pressure points. And with that knowledge, manipulating the Chosen One became almost trivial. The next morning, Palpatine called Anakin to his office. "My boy," he said warmly when Anakin arrived. "You seem troubled lately. More than usual." Anakin forced a neutral expression. "Just the war, Chancellor." "Of course." Palpatine poured 2 glasses of wine. "But you know you can always confide in me. I've always thought of you as, well, as something like a son." There it was. The emotional manipulation. Anakin recognized it now, saw it for what it was. But knowing didn't make it any less effective. "I appreciate that, Chancellor." Palpatine studied him. "The Jedi Council doesn't always understand you, do they? They hold you back. Fear your power." "They trust me," Anakin said carefully. "Do they?" Palpatine's voice was gentle, questioning. "They made you a general, yes. But have they made you a master? Do they share their secrets with you? Or do they keep you at arm's length, always watching, always judging?" Every word was a carefully placed blade, cutting at the foundations of Anakin's confidence. And the worst part was, they were true. The Council didn't fully trust him. "The Jedi are my family," Anakin said. "Of course they are." Palpatine smiled. "I'm simply saying, should you ever need someone who truly understands you, someone who appreciates your unique gifts, I'm here." Anakin left the office feeling dirtier than when he'd entered. Palpatine had said nothing overtly Sith. Nothing Anakin could use as evidence. But the poison was delivered nonetheless. And in his private chamber, Palpatine began the final preparations. Order 66 would come early. The Republic would fall ahead of schedule. And Anakin Skywalker would become Darth Vader, not despite his knowledge of the future, but because of it. The trap was set. Now, he simply had to wait for Anakin to spring it himself. Anakin returned to Palpatine's office 3 days later. But this time, he wasn't coming as a pawn. He was coming to end this. Obi-Wan had wanted to involve the Council first. Wanted proof, wanted evidence, wanted caution. But Anakin knew better. Palpatine would sense an official investigation, would disappear into the bureaucracy, pulling strings, eliminating threats. No, this had to be direct. Personal. Anakin. Palpatine greeted him warmly. What a pleasant surprise. Please sit. Anakin remained standing. I know what you are. Palpatine's smile never wavered. I'm afraid you'll have to be more specific, my boy. You're Darth Sidious. The Sith Lord the Jedi have been hunting. You started this war, manipulated both sides, and you've been grooming me to become your apprentice. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Palpatine's smile slowly faded. But he didn't look afraid. He looked pleased. I see, he said softly. Mortis changed you more than I realized. The Father showed you the future, didn't he? Anakin's heart skipped. You knew. Of course I knew. Palpatine stood slowly. I've been watching you for years, Anakin. I know when something fundamental shifts in you. The question is, what do you intend to do with this knowledge? I'm going to stop you, Anakin said. The Council will do nothing. Palpatine's voice was calm, almost amused. You could walk into their chambers right now and tell them everything. They'd ask for proof. I'd deny it. And without evidence, it becomes your word against mine. He tilted his head. Tell me, Anakin, who do you think they'll believe? The Supreme Chancellor, who's guided the Republic through its darkest hour? Or the unstable Jedi Knight with anger issues and a history of emotional outbursts? The words hit like physical blows. Because they were true. The Council didn't fully trust him. They never had. I saw what you'll do, Anakin said. Order 66. The Jedi Temple burning. You'll turn me into a monster. No, Anakin. Palpatine's voice softened. You'll turn yourself into a monster. I'm simply the catalyst. The visions showed you the truth. You have the capacity for darkness within you. You always have. I'm choosing differently this time. Are you? Palpatine began to circle him slowly. Then tell me, why haven't you told the Council about Padme? About your secret marriage? About the fact that you're breaking the Jedi Code every single night? Anakin's jaw clenched. That's different. Is it? You speak of choice, of resisting darkness. But you're already living in the shadows, Anakin. Already choosing your attachments over Jedi principles. Palpatine's voice was hypnotic. The only difference between now and the future you saw is that you haven't admitted what you truly want yet. I want to protect people. To serve the Republic. You want power, Palpatine corrected gently. Power to save Padme. Power to prevent the future you've seen. Power to control your own destiny instead of being controlled by prophecy and Jedi Masters. He stopped directly in front of Anakin. And there's nothing wrong with that desire. It's human. Natural. It's the dark side. The dark side. The light side. These are just words, Anakin. Tools for small minds to categorize the Force. But you and I, we're beyond such limitations. Palpatine's eyes gleamed. I can teach you to save her. To save everyone you love. The Jedi would let Padme die rather than break their precious code. But I would give you the power to defy death itself. For one terrible moment, Anakin felt the pull. The seduction was so smooth, so reasonable. No, he said firmly. I'm not falling for this. I'm not becoming Vader. Then you're choosing to let Padme die. Palpatine's voice was flat, factual. Because she will die, Anakin. You've seen it. And the Jedi can't save her. The light side can't save her. Only I can. You're lying. Am I? Palpatine smiled sadly. You'll find out soon enough. And when she's dying in your arms, when you're watching the life drain from her eyes, you'll remember this moment. This choice. And you'll wonder if you condemned her because you were too proud to accept help. Anakin activated his lightsaber. The blue blade hummed between them. I'm bringing you to the Council, he said. Right now. Palpatine didn't move. Didn't even look at the blade. Go ahead. Try. And in that moment, Anakin felt it. The vast, overwhelming power lurking beneath Palpatine's grandfatherly facade. The Dark Lord of the Sith unmasked. You can't defeat me, Anakin, Palpatine said quietly. Not yet. Perhaps not ever. So here's what's going to happen. You'll lower your lightsaber. You'll walk out of this office, and you'll think very carefully about what comes next. Why would I do that? Palpatine's smile was cold now. Because if you attack me, Order 66 activates immediately. Every clone trooper in the galaxy will turn on their Jedi generals. Thousands will die, including Obi-Wan, including Ahsoka, including everyone you've ever cared about. Anakin's blood ran cold. You're bluffing. Am I? Palpatine pulled out a small device. One press. That's all it takes. So make your choice, chosen one. Try to strike me down and murder every Jedi in the galaxy, or walk away and let me continue my work. Anakin stood frozen, lightsaber trembling in his hand. He'd thought confronting Palpatine would end this, would break the cycle, but he'd only made it worse. And as he lowered his blade and walked away, he heard Palpatine's final words. I'll be waiting, Anakin. When you're ready to save her, I'll be waiting. The door closed behind him, and Anakin realized he'd just lost the first battle in a war he didn't know how to win. Anakin burst into the council chambers. Masters, we're out of time. Palpatine is Darth Sidious. He threatened me. He has control over the clone army. We have to act now. The council members exchanged glances. Mace Windu leaned forward. You're absolutely certain? He admitted it to my face, Anakin said. He knew about Mortis, about the visions. He said if I tried to stop him, he'd activate Order 66 and wipe out every Jedi in the galaxy. Master Yoda closed his eyes. Grave this news is. Long suspected we have a Sith Lord hidden among us. But the Chancellor is a monster, Anakin finished. I've seen what he'll do, what he's capable of. We can't wait for more evidence. We have to arrest him now. Ki-Adi-Mundi spoke carefully. If we move against the Supreme Chancellor without absolute proof, we risk civil war. The Senate, the people, they love him. Because he's manipulated them. Anakin's frustration boiled over. That's what Sith Lords do. They lie, they deceive, they corrupt from within. By the time everyone sees the truth, it'll be too late. Mace Windu stood. I believe Skywalker. This explains too much. The war dragging on, the Chancellor's reluctance to relinquish emergency powers, the dark side clouding everything. He looked around the chamber. We move now. A small team. We arrest Palpatine and let the truth reveal itself. Obi-Wan nodded. I'll go. No, Mace said. You're too close to Anakin, and Anakin is too close to the Chancellor. Palpatine will use those connections. He looked at Yoda. Master Yoda should lead. Yoda shook his head slowly. To Kashyyyk, I must go. The attack there, imminent it is. If leave now I do lose that system, we will. Then I'll take Masters Fisto, Tyen, and Kohler, Mace decided. Anakin, you'll come with us. But you'll stay back. Let us handle this. But that's not a request, Skywalker. Mace's tone was firm. I understand you want to help, but your connection to Palpatine makes you vulnerable. You'll be there as a witness. Nothing more. Anakin wanted to argue, but he nodded. Within the hour, they were marching through the Senate building. Citizens and guards stepped aside, sensing something monumental was happening. The war, the Republic, the future, everything balanced on what happened next. They reached the Chancellor's office. The guards moved to stop them, but Mace Windu's expression made them step back. Palpatine was standing at the window. He didn't turn as they entered. Ah, Master Windu, he said pleasantly. I was wondering when you'd come. You're under arrest, Chancellor, Mace said, igniting his lightsaber. The other masters followed suit. The Senate will decide your fate. I am the Senate, Palpatine said softly. He turned, and his face had changed. The kindly Chancellor was gone. In his place stood something ancient and terrible. And you're all traitors to the Republic. We know what you are, Sidious, Mace said. It's over. Palpatine smiled, and the Force itself seemed to darken. Over? No, Master Jedi. It's just beginning. His lightsaber appeared in his hand, a crimson blade that screamed with dark side energy. And then he moved. The attack was a blur. Master Tyen died in the first second, blade through his chest. Master Kohler lasted 2 seconds longer. Kit Fisto, one of the Order's finest duelists, managed to deflect 3 strikes before Palpatine's blade found his heart. 10 seconds. 3 Jedi Masters dead. Only Mace Windu remained, his purple blade locked against Palpatine's red. The 2 warriors fought with blinding speed, destroying furniture, cracking walls, their duel spilling toward the window. Anakin stood frozen. He'd known Palpatine was powerful. But this was beyond anything he'd imagined. "Anakin!" Palpatine cried out, still dueling Mace. "Help me! They're trying to kill me. To overthrow the Republic. Don't listen to him." Mace shouted, pressing the attack. "He's a Sith Lord. The Jedi are taking over." Palpatine parried desperately. "They'll destroy democracy. Only you can save the Republic, Anakin. Only you." And there it was. The moment from his vision. The crossroads. The choice. In his vision, he'd chosen Palpatine. Had attacked Mace Windu, severing his hand. Had enabled Palpatine to kill him with Force lightning. And from that moment, Vader was born. But now Anakin knew the truth. Knew what Palpatine was. Knew what choice he had to make. Mace drove Palpatine backward, toward the window. The Sith Lord's face contorted with effort, or was it performance? "He's too dangerous to be left alive." Mace raised his lightsaber for the killing blow. And Palpatine looked directly at Anakin, eyes pleading. "Anakin, please." Every instinct screamed at Anakin to do something. But what? Attack Mace and doom the galaxy? Let Palpatine die and lose any chance of saving Padme? The visions had shown him Palpatine whispering about Darth Plagueis. About the power to prevent death. If Palpatine died now, that knowledge died with him. And Padme would die. "Mace, wait!" Anakin shouted. "We need him alive. He knows things. He's too dangerous." Mace's blade descended. Force lightning exploded from Palpatine's fingers. And everything changed. The Force lightning stopped. Mace Windu stood over Palpatine's smoldering body, his lightsaber at the Sith Lord's throat. The Chancellor, no Darth Sidious, lay crumpled against the wall, his face burnt and twisted but alive. "It's over," Mace said, breathing hard. "Anakin, you hesitated. But you didn't stop me. You chose right." Anakin stared at the broken figure of the man who'd manipulated him for years. Palpatine looked up, and despite everything, he smiled. "Foolish boy," he whispered. "You think defeating me saves her? The future is set. Padme dies. You can't change fate." "Silence." Mace pressed his blade closer. "You have no power here anymore." Palpatine laughed, a horrible, rasping sound. "I am powerless? Look at him, Jedi. Look at Skywalker's face. The darkness is already there. Growing. Festering. I don't need to be free to win. I've already won." Anakin wanted to deny it. But he felt it, the anger, the fear, the desperation coiling in his chest like a serpent. Within hours, the Jedi Temple was locked down. Clone commanders were brought in, and the inhibitor chips discovered. The hidden protocol, Order 66, was disabled before it could be activated. Across the galaxy, Jedi who would have died lived. Ahsoka, hunting Maul on Mandalore. Yoda, fighting on Kashyyyk. Hundreds of others who should have fallen to their own troops. Count Dooku was captured trying to flee Separatist space. Without Sidious's coordination, the Separatist leadership crumbled. General Grievous was destroyed by Obi-Wan on Utapau. The Clone War, which should have burned for years more, sputtered out in weeks. The galaxy celebrated. The Sith were defeated. The Republic was saved. And Anakin Skywalker was the hero of it all. But he felt no victory. "You did it, Ani," Padme said, holding him in their apartment. "You saw the future and changed it. You saved everyone." Anakin held her close, feeling her warmth, her life. She didn't know. Didn't understand. In his vision, she'd died giving birth. But she wasn't pregnant yet. There was still time. Still hope. Wasn't there? At the Jedi Temple, the Council met in emergency session. Palpatine was imprisoned in a Force-suppressing cell, awaiting trial. His crimes were slowly being uncovered, decades of manipulation, murder, conspiracy. But some secrets remained locked. The knowledge of Darth Plagueis, Master Yoda said gravely. Mentioned it, Sidious did, in his confessions. The power to cheat death. Mace Windu shook his head. Sith lies. Deception to tempt Skywalker. But what if it's not? Anakin blurted. Everyone turned to look at him. What if that knowledge exists? What if we could learn it? Obi-Wan placed a hand on his shoulder. Anakin, that path leads to darkness. You know this. Does it? Anakin pulled away. Why does wanting to save people have to be evil? Why is the Jedi way always about letting go, about accepting death? Because attachment leads to fear, Ki-Adi-Mundi said gently. Fear leads to anger. I know the code. Anakin snapped. Then quieter. I'm sorry, Masters. I've seen what loss does. What death takes from us. And I don't understand why fighting against it is wrong. Yoda looked at him with ancient, sorrowful eyes. The greatest trial, yours still is, young Skywalker. Defeated the Sith, you have. But defeat yourself, you must. Anakin left the temple and wandered the streets of Coruscant. Citizens cheered when they recognized him. Hero of the Republic, they shouted. The chosen one who saved us all. But Anakin felt hollow. Palpatine was defeated. The war was over. The future was changed. So why did he still feel the darkness calling? He found himself at the prison, staring through the energy barrier at Palpatine's cell. The broken Sith Lord looked up, his yellow eyes gleaming. Come to gloat? Palpatine rasped. No, Anakin said. I came. I don't know why I came. You came because you need answers, Palpatine said. The same answers I offered you before. Tell me, Anakin, is Padme pregnant yet? Anakin's blood froze. How? The Force reveals all to those who know how to look. Palpatine leaned forward. She will be soon. Twins. And when she gives birth, she will die. That future remains unchanged. You're lying. Am I? Palpatine's smile was horrible. You changed many things, Chosen One. But not everything. Some fates are inevitable. Some deaths cannot be prevented. Not by the Jedi way. Then I'll find another way. There is no other way. Palpatine's voice rose. I offered you salvation, and you refused. Now you'll watch her die, just as your vision showed. And you'll spend the rest of your life knowing you could have saved her, if only you'd had the courage to accept my teachings. Anakin's hand drifted to his lightsaber. One strike. That's all it would take. End Palpatine permanently. Erase the threat. But that wasn't the Jedi way. That was murder. That was darkness. Anakin turned and walked away, Palpatine's laughter following him. You can't escape what you are, Skywalker, the Sith Lord called. You can imprison me, but you can't imprison your own nature. The darkness is already inside you. It always has been. Anakin fled the prison, his heart racing. He'd defeated the greatest Sith Lord in 1,000 years. But Palpatine was right about one thing. The real enemy, the one Anakin couldn't defeat, was himself. And that battle had only just begun. 6 months after Palpatine's defeat, Padme told him, I'm pregnant, honey. Anakin should have been overjoyed. Should have celebrated. Instead, terror gripped his heart like a vice. The vision. The nightmare. It was all coming true, exactly as Palpatine had warned. That's wonderful, he managed to say, pulling her close. But his hands trembled. You don't seem happy, Padme said, pulling back to look at him. I am. I'm just surprised. But he wasn't surprised. He'd known. Had felt it coming. And now the countdown had begun. Somewhere between now and the birth, Padme would die. Unless he stopped it, the nightmares returned with a vengeance. Every night, the same vision, Padme dying, calling out his name, their children crying. He'd wake up drenched in sweat, feeling her heartbeat to make sure she was still alive. Ani, you're scaring me, she said one morning. These nightmares, you need to talk to someone. I'm fine. You're not fine. You barely sleep. You're constantly checking on me, like I'm going to disappear. She touched his face. Please, tell me what's wrong. He wanted to explain everything, the visions, the fear, the weight of knowledge. But how could he tell her she was going to die? How could he burden her with that terror? I'm just worried, he said. About being a father. About the galaxy. Normal things. She didn't believe him. But she didn't push. At the Jedi Temple, Obi-Wan noticed the change immediately. Anakin, you're not yourself. Is it about Padme? Anakin's head snapped up. How did you? I've known for months, Obi-Wan said gently. About your marriage. I'm not blind, Anakin. And I haven't reported it to the Council because I trust your judgment. The confession shocked Anakin into silence. But I see you unraveling, Obi-Wan continued. Whatever you're afraid of, you can't face it alone. Let me help you. She's going to die, Anakin said quietly. In childbirth. I've seen it. The vision from Mortis changing. The future didn't change this part. She's going to die, and I can't stop it. Obi-Wan sat down heavily. Visions aren't absolute, Anakin. The future is always in motion. I know. But this feels different. Certain. Anakin looked at his hands. I defeated Palpatine. Saved the Jedi. Ended the war. But I can't save the one person who matters most to me. Because you're trying to control something that can't be controlled, Obi-Wan said. Life. Death. The Force. Anakin, you've been given a terrible burden. Knowledge of what might happen. But that doesn't mean it will happen. Not if you make different choices. What choices? I'm doing everything right. I stayed in the light. I didn't fall. I'm not Vader. No, Obi-Wan agreed. But you're still holding on. Still trying to control the outcome. And that fear, that desperation, it's darkening you in a different way. Master Yoda summoned Anakin to the council chambers one evening. The small Jedi Master looked troubled. Sense great turmoil, I do. In you and the Force. A balance disturbed. I'm trying, Master Yoda, Anakin said wearily. I'm trying to be a good Jedi. To trust in the Force. Try you do. But let go you have not. Yoda tapped his Jimmer stick. Attachment, fear, love, these you still cling to. Understand, do you what balance truly means? Destroying the Sith, Anakin said. Bringing peace. No. Yoda's voice was gentle. Balance is not light triumphing over dark. Balance is acceptance. Harmony. Understanding that the Force encompasses all, life and death, joy and sorrow, love and loss. So I should just accept that Padme will die. Accept that you cannot control the Force, Yoda corrected. Only serve it. Trust it. The future you saw shaped by fear, it was. By choices made in darkness. But those choices, may they have not been. A different path you walk. Then why do I still have the nightmares? Because let go you have not. Fear or death you do. And fear creates the very future you dread. The words haunted Anakin for days. Was Yoda right? Was his fear of loss creating the conditions for loss itself? Padme's pregnancy progressed. 7 months. 8 months. 9 months. Medical droids assured Anakin she was healthy, the babies were strong. But the nightmares persisted. And then the night came. Ani, Padme gasped, gripping her stomach. Something's wrong. The babies, they're coming. Terror exploded through Anakin. No. Not yet. Too soon. This is how it happens. They rushed to the medical center. Droids swarmed around Padme. Complications, one announced. The twins are in distress. We need to operate immediately. Anakin stood outside the surgical chamber, helpless. This was it. The moment where everything ended or everything changed. He felt the dark side calling. Felt the whisper of power, of control. He could force push past the droids, take control of the situation, make sure she lived. But that path, that desperate grab for control, led to Vader. Anakin closed his eyes. And for the first time since Mortis, he truly let go. If she dies, he whispered to the Force, I'll accept it. I won't fall. I won't let fear destroy me. I trust. I trust in the will of the Force. The words felt like tearing out his own heart. But as he said them, something shifted. The darkness that had been coiling around him for months released. Hours passed. Then a droid emerged. General Skywalker? You can go in now. Anakin's legs barely carried him into the room. And there she was. Padme. Alive. Exhausted but smiling. Holding 2 tiny bundles. Ani, she whispered. Meet your son and daughter. Luke and Leia. Anakin collapsed beside the bed, tears streaming down his face. You're alive. You're alive. Of course I'm alive, Padme laughed weakly. What did you think would happen? But Anakin knew. Knew how close they'd come. Knew that in another timeline, another choice, she would have died here. That his fear would have choked her. That his darkness would have killed her. But he'd let go. And in letting go, he'd saved her. Master Yoda visited them the next day, looking at the twins with ancient, knowing eyes. Strong in the Force they are. Both of them. A great destiny ahead they have. I'll protect them, Anakin said. All of them. Without fear this time. Without darkness. Yoda nodded slowly. The chosen one you are. Balance you have brought. But understand now, do you? Balance is not a destination. It is a choice. Made every day, every moment. I understand, Master. Months later, Anakin stood in the Jedi Temple gardens, watching the sun set over Coruscant. The war was over. Palpatine was imprisoned. Padme and the twins were safe. He'd changed the future. defeated the darkness. But the scars remained, the memories of what could have been, the knowledge of Vader, lurking in his potential like a shadow he could never quite escape. Obi-Wan joined him. Thinking about Mortis? Every day, Anakin admitted. Sometimes I wonder, what if the Father had erased my memories? Would I have been happier? Less burdened? Perhaps, Obi-Wan said. But you wouldn't have saved the galaxy. I almost didn't. I came so close to falling, Master. Even after defeating Palpatine, even knowing what I'd become, the darkness was right there. But you didn't fall, Obi-Wan said firmly. That's what matters. You chose the light. Every day, every moment you chose. Anakin looked at his hands, the hands that in another life would have strangled Padme, murdered younglings, served an emperor. But in this life, in this timeline, they were just hands. Human hands. Capable of darkness, yes. But choosing light. The prophecy said I'd bring balance to the Force, Anakin said. I always thought that meant destroying the Sith. But it's more than that, isn't it? Much more, Obi-Wan agreed. Balance means understanding both light and dark, acknowledging the capacity for both within yourself, and choosing, every single day, which side you'll serve. As the twin suns set, a sight that somehow felt symbolic, Anakin made his peace with the burden he carried. He was the chosen one, not because he was perfect, not because he never struggled, but because he'd seen the worst he could become, and chosen to be better. The scars of what could have been would always remain. The shadow of Vader would always lurk in his potential. But Anakin Skywalker had learned the greatest lesson the Force could teach. Destiny is not a prison. It's a choice. And he would choose light. Not because it was easy. Not because he had no darkness within him. But because every single day, he would wake up and decide to be better than his worst possible self. The chosen one had brought balance to the Force. Not by destroying the darkness, but by mastering the darkness within himself. And that was the true fulfillment of the prophecy.